What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the August Love Story podcast. I'm Tommy T. This is my beautiful wife, Artieka T. And today, I looked at her like I was the teacher. Like, are you going to get off your phone? Anyway, today we are talking about fatherhood. Today we're actually recording on Father's Day. So happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, Tommy.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. You did, and you gave my gift and everything, and I'm excited for it and everything like
the
that.
The gift that keeps on giving, the
child. But happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there that's listening, to all the mothers out there, or, you know, the people that aren't fathers, whoever a father or, you know, a father, tell them we say happy Father's Day from us. Yeah, so we're talking about all things fatherhood and Father's Day, and we're just going to kind of deep dive into it. But before we get started, please go subscribe to our channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell as well so you know when we actually drop new videos. And at the end of this video, like it, because I know you guys will enjoy the conversation just like I do. So with that being said, let's get into it.
Mm-hmm.
So fatherhood, man, what can we say about fatherhood outside of amazing to me? Like, no, I think, you know, it was kind of weird growing up with looking at Father's Day, because it's like everybody goes all out for Mother's Day, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you flowers, people going out to eat, you know, mothers getting all these things.
Mm-hmm. Sidebar, you know why I think we go out to eat for Mother's Day?
Why?
Because moms are always cooking.
I get that.
Just wanted to throw that out.
Okay, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like Mother's Day is such a bigger holiday for some people. Be it, you know, a lot of people say, you know, it's single moms, the dad's not around. You know, people just appreciate Mother's Day. I felt growing up, I felt like that. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, even in my thing, it was like I would do way more for Mother's Day than I would for Father's Day. Not appreciating the fact that I wouldn't be here without my dad.
Correct.
You know, that alone means a lot to me. So it's like it's weird now on this side of it, because I don't forget about Father's Day. I enjoy it when it comes, but it's like I enjoy like on social media, you read all the posts about your friends and your peers being dads now, and your friends and peers talking about their dads, and stuff like that. And I enjoy those. I smile when I read it and stuff like that. And it's cool. But for me, it's like I wouldn't have my things any other way. Like, I appreciate the posts that you write about me. I appreciate the gifts. I appreciate Lily giving hugs, not knowing what's going on today, but I appreciate those things. But I don't look at it as things you owe me. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get it.
It's an appreciation, but I think for me, it's more so appreciating other fathers. Like, I get more joy out of sending a happy Father's Day than receiving it.
But you're also the person that's like goes through and makes your list of people who you're going to send a Merry Christmas text to. Like, you start on like Christmas Eve and you be like scheduling text messages.
Right.
Like, and you do the same thing on Mother's Day and you do the same thing on Father's Day. Like, you just get that enjoyment out of it. And I've never been a person that like went all out for anything.
Yeah.
Like, I do what I do, and, you know, there's appreciation shown in the things. It's usually in the form of a gift and a card. Once I hit about 25, 26, I stopped with like gift cards and things, and I wanted to give gifts that people would number one, utilize, and number two, enjoy.
Yeah.
So the only way that I'm giving you a gift card, which is like in your case, is if you want something that's way more than what I'm willing to spend on it.
Be like, hey, put some.
I'm gonna put something on it.
How much was you gonna give me for Father's Day? All right, well, just put. I'm gonna buy this. You just put that money with that.
Like I remember one year, that's what me and my brother and my stepdad did for my mom. She wanted this patio set, and my stepdad was willing to buy it, but my brother and I were also willing to buy it. So, but we were going to buy it collectively. So my brother and I came up with the money. Like my mom went out and bought it and then sent us all a text message saying how much we owed.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know that she got something that she wanted. But then when I get to like my dad, my biological dad, he doesn't voice opinions about anything that he wants. He's always just been a very, the joy is in being celebrated. Mm-hmm. My stepdad is also a joy is in being celebrated. However, I saw a $200 shirt that I liked. Yeah. So if you want to go out and get that, I'll take it.
Right. If you want to, I can buy it myself.
Yeah,
but
and he will.
If you want to buy something for me, go ahead.
But yeah, he's one of those people that like enjoys everybody being together. Yeah. Like for Father's Day, it would bring him a lot of joy to see all of us rather than get something from all of us. And so at this age, it's more like, okay, what can we do together? Like, how can we maximize the time that we have together when we are? Because I typically don't see him on Father's Day because I live so far away. But being able to like try to navigate that and then adding you into the fold, who, again, likes the joy of celebrating the day, but doesn't need the things. It's like, all right, I can buy all of them a pack of socks, send everybody a card with the baby's face on it. And what else can we do? We kind of done on that.
Right.
And I wanted to use that a little bit as a segue back to you for fatherhood. And I know that you've parented in 2 times in your life. How has it been different being, I don't want to even say being celebrated as a father, but how has it been different looking at the father's role in those 2 separate times? From 20 to 32? Were you 32 when Lily was born? Yes, you were 32. So being 20 and becoming a dad and then being 32 and becoming a dad.
I don't think it was different either time. I was scared to death both times.
Were you?
Yeah.
You never appeared to be scared with Lily.
Oh, it's because I was in two different times of my life, like 2 different chapters of my life. Like one, I was completely broke, and the other one, it was like, I'm steady, and both of those times it was different experiences. Like one, I was with my girlfriend, and then the other one was my wife. 2 different women as well. Ironically, same city. But
ironically, I did not think about that until just now.
Yeah, ironically. But I don't think it was different. It's just how I can look at things now. Versus 20 years old, not really knowing what the world is about. Now it's like the difference was when Lily was born, I had the experience of being a parent before, even though, we found out that she wasn't mine and stuff like that. But I did have that experience, and in my eyes and a lot of other people's eyes, I was a very active parent, in her upbringing and stuff like that. So it's like, just the experience that I had previously and being able to add that to what I'm going to experience with Lily. And that was the thing. But it was the same fear. It was the same fear of I cannot fail this child.
Right.
I have to do everything possible to give everything I have to this child, where she can be more and do more and be able to leave her etch in this world.
Right.
You know? And that's the way I take it. I don't want to take anything away from motherhood because I think motherhood is a different breed.
It's the ghettoest hood of all.
No, but I think motherhood is one of the most beautiful things. But
actually, parenthood is the ghettoest hood of all.
Right. But I think fatherhood is like I look at fathers as being the superhero of parenthood.
Okay.
You know, just because where it looks for everybody's going to look at the dad to say what's next. In most mom dad situations, what's next, dad? What do we do, dad? You know, we leaning on you, dad.
Or as Artieka says, what's for dinner, dad?
We're like it's that type of conversation, it's that type of drive, you know, and you know, everybody talks about the father, as our bishops say, men lead your household. So men are expected to lead the household. Men are expected to be the ones that the family is leaning on. So they have to be the strongest mentally and physically. And I mean, it takes it's where those things all combine together. You have a way a man's supposed to walk. You know, like how they say men not supposed to cry, but that's where it comes from. I believe like men are not supposed to show emotion because everybody's looking at that man, but that man is going through the same emotions that you're going through, but he can't show it. So he has to be that superhero.
Never thought about it in that way.
Yeah.
I guess because I've seen men in my life be emotional.
Yeah.
But the women in my life are not overly emotional, right. So it's kind of like
it's
we're not emo around here.
I mean, like it's breaking down now because people are starting to understand like how strong fathers are when it comes to the family. Because like it's I hate to say it like this, man, but for a very long time, the black family was messed up. And now you're starting to see the black family get strong. Well, the people around me, you know, the black families that I see, they all have strong dads, even the ones that are not together. You know,
dads do play a very intricate role. And when I look back at during the short time that I've been in your family, it was funny because we were talking to Tommy's uncle recently, and I was like, I've been your niece for 5 years. He was like, has it been that long?
Yeah.
But I'm like, I was like, but I've been around for 8. He was like, that sounds about right.
Yeah, that sounds better.
But I look at the men in your family, and particularly your grandfather.
Yeah.
He was a silent but deadly type of man. Like when your granddad said something, everybody listened.
Yeah.
And I know that you've always taken that part of him to heart and wanted to emulate that part of him. You are more words than your granddad.
I am more words than my granddad.
Thank God. Because your granddad didn't say a lot of words. But when he did, you had to listen.
You listened. He didn't talk loud either.
He didn't. But when I look at the men in your family, like your uncles and your grandfather, it's just like, you know, you look at the households that they have, and especially those that have daughters, their daughters really, really look up to them. And it's like, you know, I never thought about it in that regard with my dads, more so with my granddad, because I watched my granddad in a different element than I watched my dad's. Because when you look at the people that are around you, you have your moments where you look at them in adoration, and then you have your moments where you look at them like, you could have done this better.
Yeah.
And I never looked at my granddad as you could have done this better.
Yeah.
And it's like grandparents are superheroes when you think about it in that regard. So I look at your granddad and I look at my granddad as like these crazy, bigger than life guys who were like guiding their families. And when they said something, you did it.
Yeah.
No matter how crazy it was, it usually wasn't crazy.
Yeah.
And I see so much of you in what they did.
Yeah.
So I look at Lily and I'm like, hey, you actually like kind of hit the jackpot thanks to me, you know. Not gonna brag on myself.
A little bit.
Not gonna brag on myself, but beep beep. You know, she gets to experience not just her dad, but she also is gonna have these grandfathers that she's going to be able to look at as like these larger than life, especially because of how much bigger they are than her.
Right.
But she has these larger than life figures that she can look at and she can learn from and grow from. And it's like when you look at that and encompass everything that fatherhood is, it's just like it can be a beautiful and amazing journey. And we have to learn as a society to accept this beautiful and amazing journey for what it is and not try to point out the flaws in it.
And that's another thing too, man. I wanna before I go forward with anything, I just want to shout out your stepdad, because your stepdad is somebody that he's silly. Mm-hmm. He's very silly, but he's somebody that I appreciate because I stepped in 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. And from 8 years ago, even to now, he's always told me good advice. And he's always...
He told you convoluted good advice.
Right. I mean, like, you got to take it and you got to dissect it a little bit.
Put on your seatbelt.
Right. You got to dissect it a little bit. But it's always solid advice. And then it's always, he's a good person to look up to. Mm-hmm. For how hard he's working, for what the things that he's doing and stuff like that. And you appreciate that. Mm-hmm. You appreciate being welcomed into a family. And that's one of those barriers you got to hit. But what I was going to say was, man, I've going back to another question, the first question you asked me about the difference in the two. The one thing that I've always taken to fatherhood, and I don't forget where I heard it from. It's not an original idea, but it's something that I wanted to stick with me. Mm-hmm. Is that as the father, I'm for a girl because, you know, obviously, you know, I parented 2 girls. Mm-hmm.
And boy, is that second one wild.
The thing about that is you're the first person or the first man in this girl's life to show her how man should treat her, mm-hmm. how a man should love her, mm-hmm. You know, how a man loves his wife or other women in his life. You're the first impression of a man.
Right.
And I need that impression for my girl to be a good one, so she can understand how she should be to her man. Because the blessing is not the I always look at it, I always want her to know that she's the gift and not him. Mm-hmm. I always say I lucked up by getting with you, but you know, you got lucky too.
Okay.
But no, I always
say what you want.
I always want to make sure that people like she understands that I understand my role in her life. Mm-hmm. I'm that one that shows you what man looks like and what man is and how man should be.
Okay.
You know, and that was something I took with the first baby as well. It's like, this is what I trying my best to show you, mm-hmm. you know. And yeah, that's pretty much what I, you know, my goal was. Now it's like I've adopted so many other things, like the idea of leaving things better than it was.
Yeah.
When you got there, we talked about that this past weekend. I actually saw it in a movie. I don't know what movie it was, but
someone told me that when I was little. I don't remember who it was, but they always told me, it might have been my mama, to be very honest, but always leave things better than you found them, because if you leave it better than you found it, somebody else is going to be willing to give you something else better than what you could have gotten on your own merit.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. What does fatherhood mean to you?
You know,
that's one of the hardest questions to answer, right?
I don't really think about fatherhood as much as I think about parenthood. But I guess fatherhood is kind of just like motherhood, and being selfless and, you know, going the extra mile for your kids and just honestly being there. I think that when you look back on things as an adult, you don't necessarily think about the things that a person did necessarily, but you remember their presence being there and things. So I guess that's what I think the most about fatherhood, is that like it is someone who is present. Because for me, and I'm not talking about my life specifically, but for me, I enjoy seeing uncles and cousins and, you know, people like that stepping into a dad's role when there isn't a dad for whatever reason, whether it be death or he's just not doing what he's supposed to do as a dad. Being able to step into that role and be there for that child or adult or whomever it is, because those are the things that matter. Is someone actually being there and having the conversations and, you know, being a sounding board, being a guiding light. There's this journalist that I follow, and this year's what she calls her year of yes. But it's not yes to everybody. It's just to her dad. So she is following the directions that he gives. So if he she was like, you know, I have this big idea that I've been working on and I'm just not sure how it's going to go. And her dad is like, do this. And she's like, are you sure? He's like, yep. And she's like, every time that I've done that, whatever outcome I thought I was going to get, it's 10 times greater because I just decided to listen to my dad. And so when you have someone in your life that can be that for you, whether it's your dad biologically or just a family member or even just a family friend, like it's amazing to have that someone in that position in your life. And that's what fatherhood looks and feels like to me.
I wanted to bring up something that a lot of people don't like to talk about on Father's Day. Is that the absent dad, the one that's not there and stuff like that. It's hard to, like, you don't know the situation, right? Of why a person is not a part of their child's life, be it they choose not to be it that they choose not to be it that the mom is they like in conflict with the mom, just can't afford it, or just plainly don't know that they're a dad. Should those dads still get the respect of being a dad? And should it be like, I feel like bringing a life, just the respect of bringing a person into the world, you know, being the father, the mother is the vessel, the father puts the vessel that puts the seed there. Just being a part of that whole circle of life situation, should absent dads, for whatever reason, I don't want to say get the same respect of a dad being there, but should be honored as well.
So I'm gonna use the context of Father's Day singularly. I am not a person that gives greetings and salutations for holidays. To people. Like, I am not a person that's walking around saying Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I'm just not that person. That's just not me. It's not in me. I'm not going to do it. Nobody can change that. So in that same regard, I don't tell people Happy Father's Day or Happy Mother's Day that are not present. it's not, I don't think that I do it consciously, but as you were asking that question, I was thinking about it. I'm like, nah, I don't tell them Happy Father's Day. I don't tell them Happy Mother's Day either.
Yeah.
My granddad always said nothing beats a failure but a try.
Yeah.
All you have to do is try.
Yeah.
Try to be present. Because if I could see you trying to be there for your kids, even though you can't, that to me looks so much better than I ain't got no kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a guy that I was, I don't even want to say friendly with. Like I knew him because of someone else, and he had a kid. Now he has other kids, mind you, but he had a kid, and he wants nothing to do with her. Well, bruh, like you made her, and it's your fault that you're in this circumstance. You made her.
Right.
Her mother doesn't get the right to be like, I don't want to do this. So why do you?
Yeah.
So no, if I saw him in the streets on Father's Day, he wouldn't get a Happy Father's Day, but he also wouldn't get a hey, how you doing either. Because I don't want to associate with someone knowingly that is not doing what they're supposed to. Because again, nothing beats a failure but a try. Just try.
And on that same regard, it's like a lot of times I feel like men are punished for not being in a relationship with the mom and stuff like that because, they get put on child support. Mm-hmm. And the consequence for not paying child support is jail. Doesn't make sense to me. Mm-hmm. So that's something that needs to be fixed because you can't make the payments. You don't call. You got a warrant to be put in jail. If you had a job, you don't no more because you're missing them days at work.
There needs to be a complete overhaul in the child support system, but that's another story for another day because I am not legal counsel. However, we all know that there's flaws.
Yeah.
And we have to accept those flaws as they are, but work to change said flaws. It's kind of like the treatment of Black people. We know that there are flaws. We have to actively work towards it.
Like I just feel like a lot of times, like, and that goes into the fact that I think Father's Day it's second to Mother's Day because of I feel like a lot of times fathers are punished for making the same decision that a mother made, which is to lay down and have sex.
I'm not going to get into this convoluted discussion with you today because it could go for a long time.
No, it definitely can, and I'm not saying every situation. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's like some situations, it looks more so of a punishment than anything because the man could be trying and could be working at things and all this and all that, and then child support is here, and then he's still having to overcome a lot more things, and the only thing that people say to him is, well, you the daddy. And that's where I get that dad's got to carry a lot too. Because everybody's going to go back and say, you the daddy.
Same thing for mothers. when you look at it under that lens.
Right.
Now, the whole thing with dads and child supports, case by case scenario, can't get into it. Not going to get into it. Because there are some men who could not be on child support, but they've chosen not to participate in the legal process, and that's their fault.
Yeah. No,
and so when you get into it from that standpoint, I don't have sympathy for someone who could have changed the trajectory of their life simply by making a decision to show up. Yeah. And I don't mean to show up in the child's life, but to show up to court.
Yeah. Nah,
like on that term, like I got nothing for you.
I get
your fault.
No, I was just bringing it up, man, because I want to talk about, like, I wanted to make sure that we hit everything about the good, the bad, and the ugly of fatherhood, because I think that the legal once it can get real ugly when children are involved. That's why I always tell people, like, kids ain't gonna make it better. At all. So it could get real ugly, or
because kids had us up at 3:00 in the morning cleaning up,
mad at each other
for something that we didn't even do.
Right. But I just wanted to make sure that we hit everything with fatherhood, because I think that's one of the greatest gifts God gives men. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the most important responsibilities as a man, is to become once a man becomes a father, the responsibilities of taking care of that family and his home are one of the most important things. And I think people understand that, but I just need,
Don't be out here being a man scorn.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
I'm not scorn.
Okay.
I just don't like child support. So
don't be out here being a man scorn.
So we got a listener letter for today.
We do. Please don't forget to send your listener letters to ouraugustlovestory@gmail.com, and we just may read it aloud on the show. Today's letter says, I need advice. My husband doesn't like my family, and my family doesn't like my husband, and my husband doesn't like my family. They feel that I'm being controlled and abused, but not physically, mentally. He always feels that he's right and causes unnecessary arguments with my family members, along with always having something to say back, and he can never just be quiet. He simply doesn't like them, and so he has a my stuff doesn't stink attitude. Help.
That's a you gotta evaluate the situation type of situation. Like, you gotta, if that bothers you, don't put your family and him in the same situation. And when they do, keep it light and keep it pushing. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Something got in my eye.
I use this as an example of a conversation that you and I just had last night. We were talking about a family situation that happened 40 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. In Tommy's family. And I always had, and still have, the same very strong feelings about the situation. Obviously, I wasn't there because I'm not even 40 yet. Yeah. But just the ramifications of how people are still being treated to this day from said decision. I feel a way about it. And I voiced to him, not the people involved, because again, not my circus, not my monkeys, how I feel about the situation and how it couldn't be me in that situation. I think that what you have to do, sidebar, I had a revelation about that situation that was like, aha, this is why the people feel the way that they feel. And I still don't know how they can move past it, but I finally saw both sides to the story, because I did not in the beginning see both sides to the story. I think you need to take a step back and evaluate all the information that you see. Like, what is it that your family is saying to your husband that makes him project as a know-it-all? Because sometimes you do know more than the other person about a situation. And you feel attacked because they're coming at you like you don't know anything when you're the subject matter expert on yourself. Yeah. Because it could be something about self and they're trying to get in the business of self and it has nothing to do with them. So I would say step back, look at the origins of where this started. Did it start with your cousin John, and then John told his mama, I don't like him, and now everybody in the family don't like him because John is the favorite cousin? Right. Then you have to look at, okay, if it started with John, was John overstepping his boundaries with your husband? Because that is the situation that needs to be addressed. Right. I feel like I just used a lot of context for that.
You did.
But
I'm still here with you, though.
You was able to follow?
Yeah,
good.
I followed you.
So when you look at it from that lens of what is the origin of it, you can usually, if not attempt to overcome it, but at least allow people to agree to disagree. Because a lot of family conflict, in my opinion, is because people don't mind the business that pays them. Yeah. They want to mind your business and not just theirs, when their business is not all together. And it does make people become defensive. Yeah, for sure. So when you look at it in that standpoint of minding your own business, make sure your husband is minding his, and make sure whomever started the issue or the issue started with your husband is also minding their business. Because at this point, it is your business to mind both of their businesses to get out of each other's business.
Exactly.
Amen.
What she said. Amen. Amen. What she said.
That's probably the easiest way or the simplest way. Rewind it a few times if you don't get it.
Right.
But I like to think of most of the time, family has your best interest at heart.
Yeah, most of the time.
And sometimes they don't understand that they have your best interests at heart, but they don't know what your best interests are.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they don't know what your best interests are, things can, get a little bit messed up and feelings get involved and people get hurt and then they out for blood because they're hurt. So I would definitely just say, hey, try to see if you can figure out, without talking to everybody and getting all their emotions riled up, see if you can figure out, even if it's just with your husband, what got him to the point of beefing with somebody and who was the somebody and who got in the business of the beef.
Where did we all go wrong?
And where do we go from here?
Yep.
Because unfortunately, and I don't know if you have kids or anything, but unfortunately, if you have kids, y'all all got to deal with each other for the rest of your lives. Now, if y'all haven't and you and your husband decided to break up, it could be a clean break. Nobody has to deal with each other. Yeah. But how likely is that?
You have to have that move the table moment, and don't physically move the table, but you
might have to physically
you
move
might
the
have
table.
to move
Some
the table.
people don't respond unless you physically move the table.
Like, so, yeah. I like what you said, man. I'm going with that. So hopefully that helps. And, have a happier marriage and life with your family. So what we got for the quote or the lyrics or whatever you want to call it for the episode today?
So I think I've only listened to one song this week, and that was last night, like outside of just riding in the car with you. And it was I'm not gonna say the name of the song because it curses, but it was by the Carters.
All right, I got you.
And Lily kept going skirt, skirt, skirt. So we'll say, stack my money fast and go. Fast like a Lambo. I be jumping off the stage. Crowd better favor. You know the song.
Scoot, scoot, scoot. Yeah, I know the song. The Carters. I love them. Well, that sounds good, man. Well, once again, thank you guys for listening to another episode of the August Love Story. August Love Story podcast. Stumbled over that. Wow. But no, thank you for listening. If you haven't already, please go subscribe to our YouTube page. Please go subscribe to wherever you listen to podcasts via Google, Apple, Deezer, Spotify, wherever you listen to it, subscribe so you hear every drop that we have. Also follow us on Instagram at August Love Story. You can follow me at I am Tommy T the Third on Instagram. You got Artieka at Artieka. So simple, so easy. On Instagram as well. What else did I miss?
Check out our current show that we're reviewing, which is Ready to Love. They got 2 more episodes. So if you're into that show, we are reviewing it. I think that's the only one right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. And leave a comment. Write something. Let us know what you guys are feeling and how you feel about fatherhood as well. What's the meaning of fatherhood to you and all those good things, man. Once again, happy Father's Day from us, from our 3am Media family, August Love Story. And I'm out. Peace.
Bye.